Okay, here we are as we are going through the Bible in a year from, I think Skip Heitzig calls it 30,000 feet, going over it and seeing the mountains and seeing everything down underneath you and doing what they call the flyby. In fact, some states, they call them the flyby states, those states in the Midwest where people flying coast to coast just sort of fly over them, fly by them, fly over the states. So we are flying over some of the books of the Bible, but we're seeing it. We're getting a sense for it, even from 30,000 feet. You can look down and you can see the mountains, and you can see the plains, and you can see the forests, and you can see the rivers and the streams, and you can see the houses. You can see the cities, you can see the suburbs. So we're getting the big overall picture, but we haven't been saying 30,000 feet. We've been saying 230 miles an hour on the bullet train, just going and watching the scenery pass us by. But as it's passing us by, we're watching it. And so we're in the poetry books now, which are 5 of them. We've said it's Job, it's Psalms, it's Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon. Those first 2 books tend to be Godward, and the other 3 tend to be towards people and about living life on earth. And the next book we'll see, and when we get into Ecclesiastes, is even more so, talking about all of the things under the sun. So we're looking at Proverbs, and I've said that the Proverbs were probably compiled in the day of Hezekiah, certainly written before then. An awful lot of them written by Solomon, who we're told he's written 3,000 of these kinds of wise sayings, and we don't have all 3,000 of them. And the entire book of Proverbs isn't just Solomon's writings, but mostly Proverbs chapter 30, Proverbs chapter 31. You have some other writers named. So we don't know, but it's possible that some of the other Proverbs, were written by other folks, but for the most part, it's Solomon. And we said that the book of Proverbs was written to give us wisdom. We said that it's divided between 2 kinds of people, the fools and the wise. Who is it divided? 2 kinds of people, well, the wise and the fools and the wise. And teaching us how to live a good life. And you live a good life by living a wise life. You lead a happy life by living a wise life. You lead a meaningful life by living a wise life. And then what we said was that many of these proverbs are really directed towards young people. And so if you can get wisdom into young people, it's going to serve them their whole life. So many of us as adults have not been very wise in our adolescent years and in what we call our teen years and our young adult years. And Proverbs even help to straighten us out and to align us with wisdom and who God is. So we read the reason for the Proverbs in chapter 1, verses 1 through 7. And now we're going to bump into a little phrase and watch this phrase show up over and over again in the book of Proverbs. So, starting with Proverbs chapter 1, verse 8, listen, my son, to your father's instruction. Don't forsake your mother's teaching. And so, several of these sections, and we will see as we go through Proverbs that sometimes there's just one proverb stands by itself and then another one comes after it, and they sort of come in rapid succession. But sometimes there's themes, sometimes there's sections. And some of these sections start with that, listen, my son. And so is this figurative? Is this for real? Is this father speaking to his son? It certainly does lend itself to think that it's being addressed to young people, a wise father instructing his son, the father's counsel and exhortations. And this is a great thing even if you don't have a father. Oh, what do I do if I'm young and don't have a father? Read the Proverbs. The Proverbs will father you. The Proverbs will help you onto a path of wisdom and a path of success. And so, and sometimes, let's understand this is poetry. So not everything that is said like son or father necessarily is a son or a father or a mother in real life. It could be, a personification of that the words personify themselves. Wisdom is saying, I'm your father. Wisdom is saying, I'm your mother. And so, my son, listen to this. And so if you listen to this, you get wise. Now, I love this. Watch this. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and don't forsake your mother's teaching. I think we said this a while back, that Elizabeth Elliot said, the school of hard knocks is way overrated. Now, I put that on my Facebook where it says education, and I wrote school of hard knocks. But then after I heard what Elizabeth Elliot said about the school of hard knocks, I took it down and changed it. She said, the school of hard knocks is overrated. You should have just listened to your mama. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just listen to your mama. Just listen to your mother. Just listen to wisdom. If you would have listened to wisdom, you wouldn't have half the trouble that you have. And so much of the Proverbs, listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and don't forsake your mother's teaching. They're a garland of grace for your head and a chain to adorn your neck. So is this the personification of a mother and father being Proverbs? Or is it literally saying, listen to your mother and father? Could be both, probably is both. My son, if sinful men entice you, don't give in to them. Good advice will get you all through life. If they say, come along with us, let's lie in wait for innocent blood. Let's ambush some harmless soul. Let's swallow them alive like the grave, the whole, like those who go down to the pit. We'll get all sorts of valuable things and fill our house with plunders, and we'll share the loot. My son, don't go along with them. Don't go along with it. Don't set your foot on their paths. Get out of there. For their feet are swift, rush to evil, and they're swift to shed blood. How useless to spread a net where every bird can see it. These men lie in wait for their own blood. They ambush only themselves. Such are the paths of all who get ill-gotten gain. It goes the way, it takes away the life of those who get it. So then it says that wisdom is calling aloud. So this stuff is free. This stuff is free. And so it's telling us how to be wise. It's telling us how to live a good life. And it's for free. It's for free. You can read this every day. You can get this every day. Build your life around it. Again, every day there's 31 Proverbs. There's 31 days in the calendar, at least the calendar that we use for our months. Some months have 30, February has 28. But for the most part, there's 31, and there's a proverb for every single day. Now, I try to read the Proverbs and try to read it for the day of the week. But boy, I can never even get to like verse 9 before, it's heavily convicting me and speaking to me about my life. So, it's something that you take and you use for life. You use it for life on earth. You use it for life Monday through Friday in the workplace, Monday through Friday at school, Monday through Friday in my circles of influence, in my friendships, in my clubs, in the, my recreation, where I work, where I play, where I live, all of those things. So everyday life, Proverbs. So the other ones, Job and Psalms, heavenward. Here, it's sort of heaven coming down to us and telling us how to live a good life. And so it's broken into this collection of the wise sayings of Solomon and then the wise sayings of others, but it's wisdom. So with all that you get wisdom. With all that you get wisdom. So there's the Proverbs, and there's the purpose of the Proverbs. We'll move on to the book of Ecclesiastes. Hey, love you guys. Talk to you soon.